This is a presentation on systems thinking based on the book by Peter Senge, The Fifth Discipline, The Art and Practice of a Learning Organization. First of all, what is before we get into the definition of a learning organization, we have to acknowledge that our world is becoming more and more complex and interconnected. Senge recommends to connect to a larger whole and see the big picture by using a systems approach to building learning organizations. What is a learning organization? Learning organizations are organizations where people continually expand their capacity to create the results they desires. So, a learning organization, to become a learning organization, schools, corporates, agencies should consider following Senge's five disciplines. These five disciplines are personal mastery, mental models, shared vision, team learning, and systems thinking. Personal mastery refers to the ability to continually clarify and deepen personal vision. It's a commitment to a lifelong learning, a continual desire to improve to meet goals, and the ability to reflect on practices. Mental models are deeply ingrained assumptions and generalizations. It's a way of thinking that impacts behaviors and actions. Those are internal images that act as stopping agents. A shared vision is a capacity to hold a shared vision of the future, a common identity and a sense of destiny. It's a collective view of the future, practices that serve as driving forces. Team learning, it's the capacity of a team to learn together, embrace genuine dialogue and ability to think as a team and learn as a team. Systems thinking. Systems thinking, as described by Senge, is a conceptual framework, a body of knowledge and tools to make full patterns clearer and to help us use to help us see how to change them effectively. It's a cornerstone of the five disciplines. It focuses on the needs of the organization as a whole. How to build learning organizations. Learning organizations that truly excel in the future will be the one that discover how to tap into people's commitment and capacity to learn at all levels of an organization. Organizations have disabilities as identified by Senge. Those disabilities are I am my position, the enemy is out there, the illusion of taking charge, the fixation on events, the parable of the boiled frog, the delusion of learning from experiences, the myth of the management team. These learning disabilities can be summarized as when people in an organization focus only on their positions and have little sense of responsibility for the result. When people are waiting for someone else to do something and solve problems before they grow into crisis. It's when a team maintains the appearance of a cohesive team and people forget the consequences of their actions. People thinking is dominated by short-term events. Those are all learning disabilities that affect organizations. Are schools learning organizations? Learning disabilities are tragic in children, especially when they go undetected. They are no less tragic in organizations where they also go largely undetected, as described by Senge. We should ask the following questions. Are people only focused on their positions? Who are accountable for students' learning? Are people being proactive and reactive? Are people fixated on short-term event? Are people seeing the threat? What are the consequences of our actions? Is the management team cohesive? Learning organizations and educations. For schools to become learning organizations, we need to utilize Senge's system approach by designing instruction that meets learners' needs, using universal design for learning, engaging students using a constructivist/constructionist approach to teaching, incorporating technology in instruction using modern instructional models such as blended learning and flipped classrooms. Throughout this course, we designed projects that were that actually involved universal design learning, constructivist curriculum, and flipped classroom um, assignment. So, universal design for learning means all students should be able to learn regardless of disability. Lessons should be designed to meet students' needs and should be flexible in terms of goals and assessment. The UDL assignment and the five disciplines can be summarized as follows. Personal mastery is when students can gain expertise. Mental models have to remove the barriers. All the disabilities need to be taken care of. What's the vision? The vision is to create lessons that will work for everybody, one size fits all. Team learning, cooperative learning opportunities should be incorporated in universal design learning lessons. Systems thinking is the big idea. What are the learning goals? Through this UDL assignment, I created a geometry lesson that was based on teaching fractals. The constructivist slash constructionism approach is when students can freely explore nature instincts using technology. Students learn by doing and constructing. Students understand the world through experiences, and that's how they connect with powerful ideas. The assignment that I have worked on is on using 3D printers to teach geometry lessons that involve shapes and measurements. So, how does the five disciplines are incorporated? How are they incorporated in constructivism? Personal mastery. Students explore their own interest. Mental models. The barrier here is a traditional way of instruction. The shared vision. How can students become critical thinkers? Team learning. Students should be learning in a social environment. System thinking, the big idea again, which is what is the learning goal. The flipped classroom assignment. We talked about how flipped classrooms are basically student-centered models. Is a student-centered model where students have control over time, pace, and the learning path. It consists of delivering instruction online using technology. Direct instruction takes place outside the classroom, and class time is used for practice and face-to-face interactions. In the flipped classroom assignment, personal mastery is control over learning. Student can master topics because they have control of the time, the place, and how they want to learn it. Mental models are technology. Technology should be incorporated in teaching. Shared vision. The vision here is to get students engaged in learning. Team learning. Students should be able to solve problems in class. Systems thinking is the big idea. What are the learning goals? Systems thinking in education. How can students use what they learned in the classroom to help them understand the world? What is the shared vision? What are the barriers? Are students committed to learning? Are we teaching 21st century skills? What will students do with what they learn? Those are all questions that relate to Senge's 5 learning disciplines in education. As a conclusion, schools can become learning organizations using a systems thinking approach when students become lifelong learners. Students can learn regardless of their learning style and needs. All students should be able to succeed. Students can work together to solve problems, and students are given all the opportunities to learn. This ends this presentation.